Good morning, everyone. I'm Danielle, and this is Crafty Make Shop. Yesterday, I posted on my Instagram a short little reel of this layout I did. I'm trying to move slow for the camera. And I was asked to do a process video. And this is just my art journal. I picked this up from Your Crafting Source at one of her live sales. It's made by Ranger. It's got different papers, watercolor, mixed media paper, burlap. And these are just some of the pages I've done. And then we've got fabric. And I just play around in here. And this was the one from yesterday. So the background is a digital from a shop I will link below. I was referred to him through Nicole on Rendell Black's Cut Glue. She was using some of his digitals for her glue book and different pages she was making. And when I saw this, it's actually it's a whole digital kit of doors, and they're really neat. So this one kind of went with those pictures a little more, and I did some stamping all around. Let's see if I can get up close for them. Maybe not. And then I also did stenciling with Tim Holtz fractured stencil and his black opaque texture paste that he just came out with this Halloween. And then I just used some mummy cloth and some old German book pages, 2 different books on there. And then this is just washi tape that I edged it with. So here I already glued this one down. I had to start re-recording. My internet was not playing nice. And what did I do? There it is. I just clip down the pages because they flop around. But this one I printed in, I sized it 7 by 10. So it would fit here but be big enough for a background. And then these pictures that I used are from Fable Crafts Art. Of course, you don't want to play nice, but I will link that shop down below too. So she has some kits like this where they're just the pictures, and then some in the Polaroid version. And I printed some of those actually. I forgot I had put my cream colored cardstock in the printer. Interesting how the color changes. So those are those. Those will be linked below. And then I picked a couple pictures that I thought kind of went with this background. And I just print on 32-pound printer paper. And I backed them on old Reader's Digest books pages. So I just kind of play around with the layout. And this is French book paper. It's rag paper, so it holds up really good for this. The German book pages were a little more brittle. So kind of choose where I want it. And then I try try to tear around. I don't want to take too much off, but I don't want them too big either because I still want to see the background and have room for the stamping and stenciling. I kind of try to not make it so square. And I'll probably end up needing another book page because I keep going smaller and smaller. I do have a tear ruler, but sometimes I just like to do it by hand. I started this one with the tear ruler, but it's coming out too uniform. And these, the longer strips, I will save because I'll do different things with those. Different backgrounds. I can take more off the side. When I make different ephemera pieces, I'll use those. We don't need horns. Look, it keeps growing devil horns there. Good enough. And if I get my head in the way, I do apologize. Normally my mat's down further, so I'm closer to it to work. So this is the Tim Holtz fractured stencil. And debating if I want to do, we'll do the washi tape. No, we'll do stamping. So I picked this washi tape. This is one of the Tim Holtz Halloween ones. Do not remember which set that one belongs to. It's an older one. I don't know if you can still find that one. So then with the stamping, the ones I used on the prior page, it was this one here, and then the little spider there. This is one of his new ones, CMS 470. It's called Foreboding. And I picked that up at Michelle's live sale earlier this month. And I also used Glare. The Obscure CMS 471. I use this. I love this one. And then I use the little bat on that one. Might change it up and use some different ones. But it'll still be off of that set. Or those two sets. So we'll do the stamping first. I do want to use this one though. There you go. And this grid block came with his bubble stamp. That came out last year. Oh, and I don't have my ink out. I'm just going to use the jet black. And of course, stick my finger in it. I think this time I want to go down here with it. I just try to rub on it without it moving too much. I thought I was prepared, but apparently I'm not fully prepared because I don't have my crafting cloth out. And I just wipe my stamps off of the excess. And I missed a little spot stamp in there. So that's when this little guy will come in handy. I'm not a huge fan of spiders, but this will work. And I probably should put this something under it just to make sure I can get the spider good and clear. That works. Covers up that missed stamp. Okay. Yeah, I think I want to do this one next. And sometimes I don't do the whole stamp. Oh, I don't need those. Yeah, I'm going to be all inky by the time this is done. I don't think I'll use the bat this time. I might do... Let's see. That's smart. I know some of this will get covered, so I'm not too worried. And I have the soap that'll take this off my fingers. So, not hugely worried. Okay, I think that's good. Before I stick my arm in it, we will move that. And I kind of just play around and look. I think this time I want to use this. Maybe I don't know if I have one. Oh, it does. Kind of sort of fits. I think we'll try the skull maybe up here. This was probably one of my favorite purchases was this book because I can just kind of do my own little thing. If I feel like I'm stuck or I have a block, I usually pull this out and start playing in it. And I stuck my finger in. We're going to cut that back. We'll see the splatter stencil through it, but interesting. So yeah, so this is just my free play, so it gets my creativity going. Let's see how this looks. Kind of creeps me out with that skull popping up behind there. Ah, I like it. And she's going to end up covering some of the spider and the web. That's okay. Let's move him up a bit. And I have ink everywhere. That's right. Why not? We'll put the Halloween one up here. And this is just the October 31st one. There we go. And I know we'll be stenciling over a lot of this, but it's not a real thick stencil, the fractured one, so you'll still be able to see it. And if you can hear my stomach, I apologize. Apparently it's got stuff to say today. I think that's good for the stamping. No. Sorry for the reach. I should have pulled this out. Okay. And I just lay it down, and I'm only going to stencil around the edging. And just kind of hold it down and go to town on it. I won't hit the center, only because that's where I'll have the pictures, so it'll get covered up. You could, if you wanted the texture underneath the pictures to kind of give them a more of a build up. If you wanted it to be more dimensional, that's the word I'm looking for. And I'm just watching where I have it stenciled up there so I don't hit it. Might come back in and go closer to the edge on that one. It's too much of a straight line there. I didn't like that. Gotta have my background straight, but I don't want my stenciling to be that straight. I probably should have done the inside first. Hindsight and all that. Where is... I thought I had... I probably did. Yep, I did. Just in case. I try not to grab too much at once as far as the texture paste goes, because it goes a long way. And I will scrape off the stencil when I'm done. Uh-oh. Try not to hit the other stenciling. Good job. Good enough. I need more room on my desk. I will just kind of come in a little bit. Now I'm going to put the washi tape on there, so it's going to end up covering some of this. But I just don't want that straight line. Eek. good enough for me. Maybe I'll try to clean off my stencil. That's a lot of excess on there. And I'm going to pause real quick and go get some water on this stencil. Okay. Now we got that cleaned off. We will go back to okay. What I'm going to do, get some of this off. Doesn't need to be over here. And I just washed my hands when I went and rinsed off the stencil. This will dry pretty quick because it is thinner. Not real thick coats, should I say. Not that the texture paste is thinner. It's just not real thick through that stencil. And this is where I'll come in and put down, see, can I get it? The washi. Yeah, the texture paste isn't dry, but I think I want to start on the bottom. And if I could get it to sit still. And I just run my finger along the bottom of the edge of the page, just so it's not hanging off. And I think yesterday I used a little bead of glue on the underside of the tape, or along the edge of the page. I'll kind of show you what I did. This tape seems more, eek, I'm making a mess, more sticky. And this is just Fairly Arts glue. I wanted to give this one a shot. And it's the ultra fine tip. As I stick it right in the texture paste. Oops, not on the page. So far, I like the glue. It's the first time I've ever used it. Normally, I just use, when I was scrapbooking, I used art glitter glue because I tried tacky glue once. Because my scrapbooking experience, I self-taught a lot of what I did through tutorials and stuff like that on YouTube. A friend of mine got me into scrapbooking when she would come down on vacation. We would take tons of photos of all the places we went, and then she kind of started me on scrapbooking, and it morphed into, I got bored with it and got into junk journaling and mixed media, and I blame her. It's all her fault. And she knows it. She owns it. But we've been friends for almost 30 years now. Since high school, so I just really aged myself more than I needed to. I think we're at like 26 years. So not quite 30 years, but we're getting there. She'll come down once or twice a year, and we'll hit different spots around here. We go to the beaches and the botanical gardens and different state parks, and you go hiking and take a ton of pictures. But yeah, all that scrapbooking morphed into getting into this side, which to me is way more fun. Less restrictions. Like, measurements don't have to be perfect. Eek. And that's what I like. I started getting into watching a YouTuber, and she's not real huge on measurements, which I enjoyed that much better than being strict on measurements, because my paper cutters used to drive me insane because they never seemed to cut straight. They'd start off cutting straight, but eventually would end up warping, or I don't know if it was me or the paper cutters, but then eventually I did invest in that big Fiskars, the big one with the self-sharpening blade, and I love that one. And it's far better than the little trimmers you would get. Now I need to put a stamp away. That's why there's so much room on this. So those will dry. And this is where you'll have to put down your... I'm going to ink the edges real quick on this. And this is just vintage photo, but it's archival distress. You ink how you want. I'm just kind of grabbing the edges just so it pops a little bit. Okay. Again, just still playing with the location of those. It always amazes me how much of a mess I can make on my desk doing just a page of my art journal. I have things everywhere. Yeah, let's stick that up there. Okay. And this is where I add in the mummy cloth on the other one. And I'll probably do the same on this, although I do have... Nah. Don't like it. Yep. And when I cut it, I kind of almost pull it so it doesn't cut straight, and I don't cut straight. I make sure I turn my scissors and stuff. I don't want the straight edges. And then you can just pull it different corners and pull off the edges so it makes it more ratty. And I just throw them wherever, and I'll clean up later. And everyone's starting to wake up in my house. And then I just kind of let my dauber go in and add some color to it. You can add it to whatever area of the photo you wish. You can put it over the paper like that. Be it back in frame. You can do it a different color. You can ink it up more. I've even taken it with my ink pad and gone like that because it does get it darker. Maybe we'll do that. And it doesn't have to be perfect because it's grunge. Grunge is not perfect. It's sticking to me. So you can either do it over or under the paper. What did I do over here? I did under the paper. Let's try it over the paper. It doesn't matter where it goes. Like that. We're just going to make it ready. This mess will only be tolerated so long before I'm like, nope, gotta clean. But I make a huge mess when I'm doing this. Just because. Okay. And then if I notice any white, I might just go back in with my dauber. And then I just, oh, that's right. Didn't want to pull that all the way out, but okay. Oh, yuck, all over my fingers. Let's see where I want his. And here I probably will use the Bearly Arts glue to stick these down onto each other and then onto the page because I don't trust glue stick to do that. I don't think glue stick would hold for that. That's a lot of weight. And it does dry clear. So I just make sure I got good coverage, especially where the mummy cloth is, so it gets through to the page in the corners. And then I always have my crafting cloth somewhere near me or in my lap, so when I get glue on my fingers, I can clean them off so I don't ruin the whatever it is I'm working on. And right here I need some more glue because it is not adhering through the mummy cloth onto the page. See if I can get his cloth down. And I always stab myself with this needle. I can only handle so much glue on my fingers. So I have to have my cloth right there. I know some people won't use certain types of glues because they get on their fingers or texture paste. They don't like it on their hands. Sometimes it bothers me more than others. Put that up too far. Let's see how well. And my cloth moved from the corner. That's all right. Yuck. And you can always do more on the pages than I've done. But at this point, I think I kind of just like it. I did, let's see if I can find them. Yesterday I played around with embossing glazes with the photos. This is the Vintage Beeswax by Seth Apter, and you can see some of the texture to it, the bumps and everything. And you might not be able to, you can kind of see the book page I did on the other side. So for next time I would not, if I was going to do that, I wouldn't do the book page on the back. And this is another one of the photos. This is Tea Dye embossing glaze by Tim Holtz. On that one, I think that was it. I just played around with a couple to see how I liked it, and I wasn't a huge fan. I thought I did one with frosted crystal. Maybe, but I've made a mess, so I'm not going to be able to find anything. Here it is. So I do like the frosted crystal one. Focus. Yeah. Let's try it on this. Yes and no. So you can kind of see it. I think the frosted crystal, out of all three, let's see if I can line them all up. Just playing around, I think the the Frosted Crystal was probably the winner of the three. I do like the vintage beeswax, but again, just gotta not do book page on the back of that. And this I'm just gonna generously coat so it stays. You can even put it on the mummy cloth. And we know we want him like right there. I know you end up covering the background of the door, but the textures and the different depths of the door and colors, they work really well as backgrounds. And I noticed my printer, whether it's just my printer or it'd be, anyone else's, but with the size I made them, it kind of distorts the door a little bit when it prints out. And that was originally why I decided to cover it. It gets a little grainy when it gets that big, but it works for this purpose. And I just kind of do that so I don't smudge anything if my fingers are dirty, because I've gotten all the way through with something, with a page or a book before, and not paying attention because my fingers are dirty, and I go and push something down and smudge color everywhere. But that is the finished page. I wonder if, let me try turning down my light. Maybe the glare won't be so bad. Oop, I forgot that was there. And I'll post this to my Instagram, because I think my phone definitely takes better pictures than trying to work with this camera. But that is that. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for watching. Give a thumbs up if you like. Subscribe if you're not already. And check out my Instagram page, because I do a lot of short little quick projects that I just post there instead of posting doing videos. But this was for Deborah. She asked if there was going to be a process video. So here you go, Deborah. Hope you like it. Hope it was easy enough to follow. Any questions or comments, go ahead and leave down below. And I hope you have a fabulous Sunday. Bye, everyone.